one of the problems that you have when you're learning at school a language is that we always find it way inefficient and reach the point where you have studied the language for many years at school and you're still unable to talk it, to use it. And we think that then it becomes useless. Why do we learn language at school? Well, I agree to some point that learning a language at school is not the most efficient way. No, that's for sure. However, we should not criticize school for what it is, because I think that they're also doing their best with what they can. Let's think first of learning a language at school. When I was learning Spanish at school, middle school and high school, I had 3 hours a week. 3 lessons of 1 hour every week, for every week beside holidays. So 1 hour is 60 minutes. We were roughly, because it was second language, first language was English, second language were between 15 and 20 per class. If we have 15 in each class, that means that if the teacher does not talk at all, we have 4 minutes each for talking. Now, of course, the teacher is going to talk during class, so our talking time will be much less. And so if the teacher were to speak for 30 minutes between giving instructions, asking questions, etc., we would have roughly 2 minutes each to talk. So already we see that to talk and to improve our talking, class is not the best in that way, at least. We could talk in groups, but that comes to the point number 2, which is when we're students, high school students, middle school students, even at university, do we really want to study in class? Do we really want to work? Because my personal answer is no. When I was in school, I didn't want to study. When I was in English class, in Spanish class, I did not want to participate. I did not want to study, and I did not do my homework. That doesn't mean it's the case for everyone, but a lot of people, if they think about it, will feel the same way as me. And so criticizing the teachers when you, as a kid or teenager, didn't want to study is a bit harsh, because you didn't want to give answers. When the teacher asked a question about an exercise, about the text, and even if you knew the answer or thought you knew the answer, you didn't raise your hand because you didn't want to try. Well, you are wasting your own time that you could use in class. Now, there are some teachers who just make you study text, boring text. There are some teachers who are really strict. There are some teachers who do not care about your pronunciation or your accent. I know, teachers are not perfect, just like any other human being on earth. However, should you not study a language in class? Well, I think studying a language in class can bring you some elements. First, they will teach you grammar, some vocabulary, even though it may not be the one that you're looking for, but they will teach you some vocab. You will read text, you will listen to audios, the teacher will be able to ask you questions, so there will be some kind of small interaction that you do not have if you study at home by yourself. The teacher can correct your mistakes, the teacher can correct you when you do exercises if you study by yourself as well, if you do the exercise, the homework that you have to. I feel like learning at school a language will take a lot of time, yes. Is it efficient? No. Is it useful? Yes. If you do all the work that you have to do at home as well, if you study by yourself between classes, you will improve. And if you're really interested in that language, then you can study by yourself. I know that if you're 15 or 16, you're not going to ask for a private tutor or teacher, or you may not have the funds for that. But there's internet, there's YouTube, there's Duolingo and all of that. And if you really want to learn while you're at school, you can also study by yourself after that, even if you don't have money for that, as long as you have a computer that has access to internet or a phone that has access to the internet. There are many ways to study a language, and at school they give you one method that works for a group of 15 or 20 for 1 hour session, where the students may not be as proactive or may not want to study, so they have some methods. Studying at school and studying by yourself combined. These two are complementary, and if you do that, then you will improve greatly. And then maybe you reach a point where what you study at school is not useful anymore, or is not at your level, it's too low level. And then you can maybe ask your teacher for more homework, or if she doesn't want, then of course that's a bad teacher and you need to learn by yourself. But we need to take into account all these characteristics, that there are many students you don't want to study. Maybe the teacher is not the best teacher ever. Maybe they have to follow a specific curriculum that is not the best, or that is not adapted to your needs or to the way you learn. You know, there are different methods of learning because there are different people and we have different ways of remembering things, of learning things. So school, is it efficient? No. Is it bad? No. Is it good to start taking a language at school? Yes, maybe that will give you a view of the language and think whether you like it or not. I started learning Russian in university because I did not want to continue studying Spanish for some reason. I wanted something different. And after 6 months, I really got into it, thanks to the teacher, thanks to learning at university. And so that's why I continued taking classes by myself with a private tutor. And I'm still learning right now, 2 years after. But if I did not start in university, I would have never maybe tried it. So it's also a good way, maybe, if you have the choice to start it and stop it maybe 6 months or 1 year later, if you have that choice, then it's a good way to test out different languages and see how they are, or see what is interesting for you. Maybe you find something interesting that you did not think about. Well, teachers may not make you work on your speaking because they don't have time, but reading, writing, and listening, they surely work on these. Maybe not with the best documents or the most interesting ones, but they are doing it. And so if you are struggling to find maybe documents online about reading or writing or etc., teachers can do that for you, and you can work your speaking by yourself or do something else. So it's definitely not a bad thing. It's just not efficient.